What your brain has in common with the streets of Paris. If you've ever been to Paris and ventured out into the streets in the early morning, you will have probably observed a practice which I believe is unique to Paris. You will see water gushing out of outlets in the gutters and a small army of green-clad men armed with witchy-looking broomsticks sweeping the water along the street. There are 12,000 of these outlets, called bouches de lavage, in the streets of Paris, and they help keep the streets clean and tidy. Now, scientists have recently discovered that our brains have a similar system. It's called the glymphatic system, and it's comprised of a series of tubes that carry fresh fluid into the brain, mix the fresh fluid with waste-filled fluid that surrounds our brain cells, and then flush the mix out of our brain and into the blood. The process primarily occurs during deep sleep. The system is thought to have two functions. The first is to flush out that waste that accumulates in the brain, such as metabolites and soluble proteins. Some of them, such as amyloid beta and tau, are neurotoxic, so eliminating them is very important. The second function is to distribute nutrients to the brain, a bit like the milkman used to do to our households first thing in the morning. The discovery is very exciting because scientists think that these glymphatic processes may play a role in Alzheimer's pathology. In short, interfering with the process may increase the risk of the disease. If the scientists are right, then it suggests that there are some lifestyle choices that we can make to reduce our risk of Alzheimer's. Current thinking is that making sure you have omega-3 in your diet, exercising regularly, intermittent fasting and sleeping on your side may all help. Now, the influence of alcohol on the process is interesting. There's some evidence that small amounts of alcohol may improve glymphatic function, but also that imbibing large amounts or chronic use of alcohol seriously disrupts it. There's also a secondary effect of alcohol via the HPA, that's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, where chronic alcohol use increases the production of cortisol and the stress response. A dysfunctional HPA axis and high levels of cortisol are associated with Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's Research UK estimate that the number of people living with dementia is close to 1 million in 2021, and by 2050 this figure is expected to rise to 1.6 million. So obviously any progress we can make in reducing these numbers is very important. So there are very compelling reasons to make good quality sleep a priority and keeping alcohol consumption to a minimum. But there are also short-term impacts of alcohol on sleep that make a strong case for reducing alcohol intake too. So a large study in Finland found that alcohol had a dose-dependent effect on the autonomic nervous system. Sleep quality was degraded by 9.3% after even a small amount of alcohol, less than 2 drinks for a man and less than 1 for a woman. And when a man consumed 2 drinks, or a woman 1, sleep quality was degraded by 24%. More than this degraded sleep by 39.2%. According to the Sleep Foundation, drinking alcohol before bed can also increase the suppression of REM sleep. Since alcohol is a sedative, sleep onset is often shorter for drinkers and some fall into a deep sleep rather quickly. But as the night progresses, this can create an imbalance between slow wave sleep and REM, rapid eye movement sleep, resulting in a loss of the latter and more of the former. This imbalance decreases overall sleep quality, which can result in shorter sleep duration and more sleep disruptions. REM sleep is important as this is when a lot of our memory consolidation takes place, and it's also thought to help us regulate our emotions. When we're deprived of quality sleep, we are more likely to have negative emotional responses, and our reactions to positive emotional events are subdued. So in lay terms, that means we get crotchety and are less likely to have a healthy response when people are nice to us. Neither of those things are good. Alcohol also plays a role in insomnia. Regular drinkers can get into a vicious circle of having poor sleep, so feeling very tired during the day, and then drinking to help them fall asleep, which only has the effect of further degrading sleep quality. The Sleep Foundation report that binge drinking, which is consuming an excessive amount of alcohol in a short period that results in blood alcohol levels of 0.08% or higher, can be particularly detrimental to sleep quality. In recent studies, people who took part in weekly binges were significantly more likely to have trouble falling and staying asleep. And these findings were true across the board: men and women, adolescents, adults, young and old. Alcohol also increases the incidence of sleep apnea, and that's abnormal breathing and temporary loss of breath during sleep, by 25%. I know from my own experience and what our clients tell us that getting a good night's sleep is one of the greatest blessings of going alcohol free. My experience was that I was chronically tired all the time, even when my alcohol intake was relatively modest. I used to drive a lot with my work, travelling to far-flung offices, and staying alert while driving was a huge challenge. I used to end up drinking too much coffee and energy drinks, which of course robbed me of my sleep, thereby perpetuating my exhausted state. Now I look forward to getting into bed and getting a great night's sleep. I don't always sleep right through the night. Sometimes I'm awake for a while in the middle of the night if I've got a lot on my mind. But even my worst night's sleep is better than my best night's sleep when I was drinking. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, please hit like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for watching.